What's up, everybody? Renfill here, and we're back again with more Baldur's Gate 3, the best CRPG that I've played since Baldur's Gate 2, which was a heck of a long time ago. Larian Studios has pulled out all the stops for this Forgotten Realms-based adventure, and as much fun as I've had throughout early access and into the live game with mouse and keyboard, my preferred method of playing is the controller. I've been doing quite a bit of controller guides recently, and now that the PS5 launch is here and we got confirmation of the Xbox launch just around the corner, well, it's time for me to sink my teeth into even more controller guides because it's just such a great way to play. They've got great controller support for this game. But one of the things that a lot of people say that confuses them is the radial menus because unfortunately, everything you pick up that's usable kind of gets auto put into these radial menus, which can create this never-ending cycle of having just tons of radial menus that are open, and so it becomes a confusing hot mess to try to find your melee attack, your ranged attack, or the chosen spells that you prefer to use the most frequently, whether it's cantrips or your fireball or something. So being able to configure your radials and set those up how you want is key to being able to get the most out of the controller. So today we're diving into a guide on how to set up the radial menus with the controller, and this applies to both the PlayStation 5 controller as well as the Xbox controller for the Xbox Series S and Series S, or any generic controller that you're using to play on the PC. I happen to be playing with a Series X controller just because that's what I have with my Xbox Series X. It works brilliantly with Bluetooth, but you can also plug it in with USB-C. I got videos on how to set all that stuff up as well, but in any case, we're going to dive into how to set up your radial menus today. If this is your first time tuning in, this is the part of the video where I say don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Don't forget we do daily streams at 11 a.m. Central. There is a Discord, links are down there. And I cover a lot of other games beyond Baldur's Gate 3, such as right now we're doing Starfield, we've got Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty coming up, and a whole bunch of stuff next year as well. So without further ado, check out all those things, but let's get into this video right now. Now I've got a level 1 rogue sitting here on the Nautiloid who I haven't touched before, and as a result, his radial menus are nice and clean and shiny new with that new tune smell. So if I open up the radials right now, there's only two, well, three technically. But I've got one that has my melee stuff and one that has all of my other abilities that are related to bonus actions, and then we've got this one which is for things I've picked up that are usable for my character, like potions, bottles, scrolls, things that I might want to throw or consume. And when you first start the game up, this is it. This is what you're presented with, and it doesn't matter what your controller you're on. It's the L and R bumpers are the ones that open this up, and then you can just close the menu down accordingly. But to just bring them up, it doesn't matter which one you hit, left or right. Either one of these will open these up, and you can go from there. But once you're in here, you'll notice that you've got this bar, which has some free slots in it, and then this is a few slots over here, and then this one has a whole bunch of slots available here. Now, if you are choosing to set up your own, there's a few things you need to know. Let me get my notebook here so that I can make sure that I remember what the button scheme layout is for the PlayStation here. But we are going to go ahead and do this accordingly. So, right or left bumper brings them up. And from here, if you see a free slot, you can hover over it like so. You'd move your left thumbstick over or around to the corresponding free slot. And then if you are on the Xbox controller, you're going to hit X, but if you're on the PlayStation controller, you're going to hit the square button. And that's going to bring up the radial customization menu. And then from here, you've got set slot, swap slot, clear slot, or add radial. The last thing you want to do right now is add a radial because that just adds to the confusion and adds to the mess. So that's for more advanced stuff, which we'll get into towards the end of this guide. But for now, what we want to do is, how do you swap a slot? Like, what if you don't want, what if you want your potions that are over here and you want to bring the potion over here to your primary radial? So that's the first thing you see when you open it up. Also, maybe I want my sneak attack, up in here instead. Let's just deal with this one first. So I would go down here and I would hit that radial customization button like so, and I would say swap slot, and we would pick that and we would just move it up over here, and hit the A button on the Xbox controller or the X button on the PS5, and boom, we have now cleared this slot and we've switched it and we've put it up over here. What if I also want to do the same thing? What if I want to get rid of target non-lethal attacks and bring my sneak attack ranged up in there? Well, same thing. Hit your radial customization, go to swap slot, move it down, and swap accordingly. And now we've got our 3 melee abilities up here. Now maybe I don't want my dancing lights on this one, because this is for my like attacks and stuff. Maybe I want this over on this radial over here. So again, bring up this where it says swap slot, then hit the right bumper to go over to this radial, pick the slot that you want it to be in, and boom, you have now moved it over to another radial menu entirely, which now leaves me with a whole bunch of slots over here that are opened up for all sorts of other things. Now, with this particular character, I don't have any spells or anything else because this is a brand new character. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to switch over to my druid, who is 12th level, which is the max you can be, and he has a ton of hotbars. Way too many because I've been really lazy about customizing his radial menus. So I figured it was the perfect time to actually show what it looks like when you don't pay attention to customizing the radials, because they can get quite out of control, and it's chaos. But as I've played additional characters, I've gotten much more proficient at setting things up so that I can actually have everything I want at quick disposal. One thing I am going to do really quick is I'm going to bring these potions of healing over, because I actually want these right here so that I have quick access to them. And I'm actually going to move this all the way over to this over here, because I don't ever care about having the non-lethal blows for the moment anyway, because I'm a rogue. I'm going to kill everything. Anyway, let's hop onto the druid and show you what it looks like if you're a caster and you have a ton of spells available, because that's when things get really, really messy. Alright folks, so I am on my 12th level druid, who is a Circle of the Moon druid, which means I have access to not only a whole slew of spells, but also my wild shapes. And don't judge me because I'm about to show you a hot mess, because this is the character that I play in the live streams, and I have never once worried about customizing his radial menus. I've only done that for the offline characters where my gameplay is a lot more streamlined. I'm more focused on playing this character live with the community, and I'm always chatting with folks as opposed to setting up my radials, so I've always been sort of lazy about it. And this is what it looks like if you are a lazy person like me and you don't ever do anything with your radials. It will just stick things in whatever open slot it finds available, and you're going to go through here and you're going to see that I have a lot of different menus, and it's not always done in a great way, because like this one is complete, it's got one thing in it. Like, what is the point of this? Like, maybe we should just move that over to like maybe here and do that instead. But you know, then we've got this dead radial one right here, so we can remove it. Right, that. Boom. We've removed a radial and we've cleared up some space. So if you don't do anything, they just fill up with stuff, especially this kind of stuff. Potions. Anything you pick up, potions and scrolls, anything that's usable, arrows, they all get stuck here. Anything that's throwable, grenades and things of that nature, they're all going to go into their own radial menu. So if you're carrying around a tons of just crap like I am, so we'll go into my character sheet and you'll see that, oh my god, I have all of these things that I'm carrying on that character. Nobody else has hardly anything in comparison. Like Lae'zel a little bit because she carries heavy stuff, but it's a hot mess, right? So that's what it looks like if it's a hot mess like this. So when it looks like this, it's not that big of a deal when you get to the end game, because they're kind of all in the same spot where you remembered them anyway. But as you're leveling up and getting new abilities, you might sometimes go, well, where did it stick it? And you're going to have to go through here as you get new abilities, because what it's going to do is it's going to stick it in the first free radial slot that it finds, and sometimes it's not going to be the most convenient place for it to be put. So that's why you can move things around. But then you get also into fun things like, well, what about my wild shape? Because this is when things get even crazier. Because if I hit my wild shape, well, now it's going to open up 2 additional radial menus, which are related to my beast forms, because I have more than what it can just fit on one. And I don't even have access to all my forms yet, because I haven't finished the Illithid. I haven't taken any Illithid worms with this character, so I don't have access to the Displacer Beast, which it would put somewhere in here. And the first time that I think it was level 10 when I got access to all of my quick commercial break, everyone, to give a shout out to all of these amazing people who are the guild champions at the highest tiered membership here on our channel, and of course, all of the members who help keep me full time and doing this for your enjoyment. If you would also like to become a member, you get access to tons of special stuff like live stream, member only chat, private videos for our members several times a week. It's really simple. Just pick your tier, go from there. You can also do super chats or super thanks on any stream, YouTube short, or video that you see. Don't forget the Discord. Links are down below. Let's get back to the video. My mythosaur shapes, or not mythosaurs, what are they called? The Myrmidon shapes. It added 4 new things, and I didn't realize it had opened up a second radial here. And so I was in the middle of a combat scenario on a live stream, and I was like, where's my wolf form? Where's my wolf form? And someone was like, dude, there's a radial menu just to the left of you. And I went, oh my god. I'm herping and derping and didn't realize that I had a second radial menu. So this is what it looks like if you have chosen not to do anything, which is why I always tell people I don't know that I would ever use this option here, which is add radial. But I suppose if you find yourself getting to the point where you want to add one, you could. But the game is going to automatically add more radials as you pick up tons of loot. And I find that if you're going, as I'm going through with my other characters, it's much easier to just let them autofill, then swap things around as you need to, and then go from there. I don't see any scenario when I would need to ever move something, like so, and actually add a radial menu. But one of the things you can look at here is if you have an empty slot, one of the things we want to cover is how do you set slot? Well, you would literally just go here and do the same thing. You'd open up your radial menu. Instead of choosing swap slot or clear slot, you would say set slot. And what that's going to do is it's then going to open up this window, and it's going to only show you, this is the key here, it's only going to show you things that are slottable. Now, I have these things in other places, but you can go down here through and it's going to show you everything that you could potentially slot into a radial menu. It's going to have your spells and cantrips. You go down through the various tiers of spells, and eventually you're going to get down into your attack abilities, so like your melee, your ranged, everything else. And then you can get into your bonus actions down here, and then we can even get into things like your arcane battery, which is a toggle build passive feature, and your target non-lethal attacks. And then we get into all of this stuff, which is all of the junk in your inventory that might be still usable or slottable that you might want to have access to for whatever reason. It just keeps going and going and going until finally we get down to the end of the list, and we can just pick one and say, oh, I want to put the book right there. It's now put the Legend of Answer there. And if I wanted to get rid of that, boom, just, clear the slot, and now it's empty. It really is that simple. So even if you have let yourself get out of control to where you have something that looks like this and you have all these radial menus, you can still customize them, do them as you see fit. If you don't want any of these potions and things, you just would go in here and start clearing slots around. So I'll show you what it looks like, because you can clear this whole thing and then just dismiss the radial. So let's go in here and say clear slot, clear slot. Let's do this, clear slot, and clear slot, clear slot. We'll clear these two. And now we're left with an empty radial, and now we just say remove radial. Boom. We've done a little bit of cleanup, everybody. It is that simple. Anyway, folks, that is the quick and easy guide to customizing and using your radial menus with the controller. Hopefully you're enjoying the controller as you're playing in the game, whether you're playing on the PC or if you're someone who's jumped into the newly released PlayStation 5 version, or if you're someone who's watching this later on down the pipeline when the Xbox version comes out. This game has great controller support. I've got a ton of other controller guides on the channel, so make sure to check them out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Don't forget, we do live streams every day at 11 a.m. Central. Check out all the other playlists in the channel. Discord's down below. Join as a member to support and also get access to live stream chat as well as all the private videos we do for our members. And until next time, everybody, stay safe and happy gaming.